Next up on the tee, he's fusing fairways and fine spirits with his brand called Golf Cask, and he's got a lifetime of golf coaching experience as well too. It's Brian Bailie joining us on the Course of Life. Brian, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, yeah. You got a really cool setup there in Virginia for our audience who can't see. He's a collector for sure. He knows his way
No,
around
no, I'm
the
not a
whiskey world.
collector. I'm a drinker.
There
I'm
you
not
go.
a
Okay.
collector.
He collects the empties, let's put it
That's
that
right.
way, and
There
saves
you
them as
go.
mementos, just like our hole in one golf balls or tees from a really cool golf course.
That's
You
right.
have a lot of background in golf as well, too. I'm curious, how long have you been playing? Are you a lifelong player? And what was your path as a player before you got into the coaching aspect of the game?
Yeah, I'm a little quirky that way. I didn't really play golf until I went to college. I played every sport, but my dad was an avid golfer. I didn't really care for it. I played baseball, I played football. Golf was just whatever. I went to college. My dad handed me a set of clubs and says, "You're going to have a lot of time on your hands. You might want to give this a shot." So basically, the summer before college was the first time I ever played golf. Played with a couple buddies, and it kind of hooked me. And then all through college, I played a ton and just kind of fell in love with it. Started playing tons and tons of golf. Got into high school coaching. Kind of fell into college coaching, and then made a career out of it. So yeah, not your normal pathway of. I didn't start at 8 and and work my way through. I came in kind of late, which is it's kind of refreshing because I view golf and coaching differently than a lot of golf coaches. So I see the sport a little bit differently, and especially at collegiate level where I was for 20 years, teaching the team aspect is
Yeah.
something that a lot of golf coaches don't understand very much. So having all the other team sports that I was a part of kind of shaped me into a different brand of golf coach, I guess you would say.
Well said. Yeah, and I come from that background where I started at a young age, and I remember having lots of impactful coaches as I
Yeah.
grew in the game through high school and college. What is it specifically about coaching and being that mentor and helping develop younger players that attracts you the most?
My whole life, I've always wanted to teach. I was a high school teacher before I went into coaching. I've coached, like I said, now for close to 30 years. I don't think there's anything better than working with a player and having that moment where they're like, I got it. Like they get that click and then they just run. I'm all about empowering players. I'm a short game and putting coach mainly now, the last 15 years of my life. So not a full swing coach. Don't need me nearly as much. So my job for every player that I work with is to give them the skills to diagnose and fix themselves, and then they just see me on occasions. Putting and short game shouldn't fall apart nearly as fast as the full game does. But more so is just giving you the skills and understanding what skills you have to have, how to monitor your skills, and how to fix it yourself is
Mm.
really kind of how I base all of my instruction out of.
Speak a little bit to the golfers out there who are listening and find it interesting that maybe you just kind of focus on the short game aspect. There's a lot of players out there who love just working on their game by just going to the range and smacking balls and doing nothing else. Describe the importance of your coaching in the short game realm specifically and how you work with players over the years.
Yeah, no, I think it's very funny. The area that I work in the most is probably the most plush and underused practice facility on
Yep.
earth. No, I would say, I used to be part of a golf analytic company, and the data really shows that as a higher handicapper, working your way down to scratch, putting in short game is not that important. It's important, but not that important until you really get to about 70s. Once you start getting in the 70s, that's where you can really start peeling back short game and putting. So really tee to green is massive as you're starting. So being on the range. So if you're a range warrior right now and you're shooting in the 80s, you're in the right spot. But as you start getting better, you're going to start to want to pick up that short game and putting coach. I love a lot of full swing coaches, but when you put them on a putting green and short game, it gets a little can get a little bit quirky on instruction and skill level. So I would say more than anything, the numbers really showed it's about 4 to 1. So you improve 4 shots to every one on the putting green as you're kind of progressing from shooting to 100 to shooting par. So it's really, really important that you shed those 4 to 5 shots fast. And then the putting, like I said, is on the back end. So,
Mm.
yeah, if you've not seen a putting coach or a short game coach, I understand. But once you get to that level, we are definitely needed because we can help you peel back and reach that goal of being par or better.
Nice, well put. So that's kind of the golf aspect of your background as well too. In terms of the social aspect of Golf Cask, it revolves a lot around the culture of fine cocktails, spirits, cigars, the finer things of the 19th hole, which we absolutely love here on the podcast.
Yes.
So what's your relationship as it pertains to being a whiskey drinker? It took me kind of until my early 30s, I'm in my late 30s now, to actually find whiskey and kind of get into it all. But what was your path socially with whiskey specifically?
Yeah, whiskey. I drank with different intentions when I was younger. Probably in my 40s, I started to enjoy whiskeys and cocktails, and then started stripping the cocktail down to the
Hmm.
where the whiskey became a little more forward, and then it became whiskey was the star, and then I never looked back. So I would say probably in the last 10 years, I would say I've really gone into whiskey, and I'm the kind of guy, if you give me a problem, I'm gonna go all in. Like there's no half going in. So when I went into whiskey, man, I went all in. I researched how it was made. What's the difference between the different grains? Why are they different? How are they? How did he work with them? And all the way from fermentation to bottle to whatnot. So I kind of embraced all of that, which I guess I'm kind of a nerd. That's kind of how I got into putting and short game as well. But I think that context is really really important. And then once I was coaching a lot in Europe. And I had a friend of mine. We were doing a golf school in Ireland, which has wonderful whiskey.
Oh
And
yes.
that's kind of where I started my whiskey journey was in Ireland. So we're sitting around. We had a golf school. We had all the people. We're in this little snug in this old 18th century house, and we're drinking whiskey and having a grand old time. I'm like, man, why has nobody not done this? Like, this is just, this is just fits. This makes sense. Golf, it takes you a few hours to play. If you sip on a good whiskey, it's going to take you a half hour.
Yep.
You smoke a good cigar, you're looking at 45 minutes to an hour. So everything we do in Golf Cask is 180 degrees opposite of the world, right? We're trying to get you to slow down, enjoy, be present, enjoy life, not get caught up with the doom scroll and I got to go do this, I got to go do that, take my daughter to this thing or that thing. We're like, slow down, give us an hour, and just let's enjoy life.
Absolutely, yeah, and I'm the type of person to where I'm in the space and constantly creating new things and have new ideas, and I find myself and catch myself looking forward to the future a lot. But in this game of golf, you have to stop and enjoy the moments, like especially when you're out on a great course or enjoying a great drink, like you mentioned.
There's so many beautiful golf courses out here, and you know, just to be able to stop and look around and go, why did the architect design the hole this way? Why did he put the bunkering? Like these are the questions that go in my head when I'm in a golf. Why would they put the bunkers like this? What if they would have done like so? To me, just taking that time just to appreciate what you're doing is massive, and it just brings so much more pleasure in your life. Yeah, I used to be, when I was college coaching on the road recruiting, man, just hair on fire, flying from one spot to the next spot to a new airport to a rental car to the. No, I'm getting old now. I don't know how many more laps I have around this wonderful glowing orb. So I was like, what can I do to slow things down and kind of bring a different perspective? And that was Golf Cask.
Very cool. So, in terms of the actual kind of bourbon whiskey world, I've seen a lot. Actually, one thing that's come into my algorithm a lot is there's people who like go out and like specifically like hunt for unique bourbon or whiskey experiences.
Yeah.
Like, what's the width of your like hunt, and how many like whiskeys do you think you've tried in your lifetime? If you had to ballpark a number,
That I've tried. I
yeah.
have probably about 250 on my shelf.
Yep.
That I've tried. Oh, it's got to be a few thousand.
Wow.
I love the chase. I don't hunt. It's great marketing. Hey, Buffalo Trace, we've only got one barrel of this, and we're gonna send it
Right.
out. And
Yes.
I don't do that. There's so many spectacular whiskeys out there, and if you're looking at a price point from $50 to $100, I mean, there are spectacular whiskeys. So I love to try something new and different. So I love going to a pub, a bar, a buddy's house where everyone brings their own bottle and you share that kind of concept. So I love it's like a golf course. Like when I go to a golf course, I have a set of skills. Let's see what my skills are in relationship to this golf course. Like, how are we going to intermingle throughout the day? Whiskey's the same thing. Here's a whiskey bottle. I've never had it. I have a set of skills where I understand whiskey. Let's mingle. Let's figure out what the craftsman was trying to create with this, what it tastes like, and all these. So to me, I think having the whiskey that I've never had is disproportionately more fun than having really, really expensive whiskey sitting on a shelf. I would much
Yep.
rather go taste something new and different opposed to, where the collectors are. And hats off if you're a hunter and you're willing to drive a state over to get a bottle that you've always wanted. Hats off, tip of the cap. But there's too many good whiskeys out there to worry about wasting my time on trying to track down that unicorn bottle.
Indeed, there's a lot, and there's a lot of information on the website that I checked out. I just registered to be part of the Golf Cast
Oh,
community. So
awesome.
for people
Welcome.
who are interested in being part of the community, tell everyone a little bit about what Golf Cask and the website actually offer to people who are aficionados in both the golf and whiskey space.
Yeah, we always say there's a ratio, right? There's a golf, whiskey, and we do cigars. Because I didn't do cigars in the beginning, but what I came to find out is most of the guys that enjoyed golf with a good whiskey
Eh,
smoke cigars. So
Yeah.
we added cigars as well. So we always ask, what's your ratio? If you're 50% golf, 30% whiskey, 20% cigars, we love you. If you're zero cigars, if you're 50-50 whiskey golf, we love you. So whatever your ratio is, as long as you're part of, you like either golf, cigars, or whiskey, you're really going to enjoy our content.
I like that.
And then more than anything, we're trying to create a meeting space. We have an interactive map, so no matter where you land in the world, hopefully you'll be able to find a good whiskey bar, a good cigar lounge, and some great golf. So we've created basically Yelp inside the system where our members will rank it, and you'll say, hey, is this golf course worth going to? Is it not? So we have our own interactive map. We have Rotten Tomatoes on uh, ranking whiskeys, cigars, golf courses. So if you played a golf course, you go in there and just rank it real quick. That way the other members can look, hey, is it worth me going to play? Is it worth my time? So what we're really trying to do is, in the essence of everything we're doing, Golf Cask is just really a public space where people enjoy the passions. And hopefully we find time to get together and hang out and in person and play some golf, drink some fine spirits, and maybe have a cigar or two.
Yeah. So, and you're in Virginia, is right too. I see that have you done events, meetups, and what are those like?
Yeah. We've done meetups in Ireland. We'll be in Ireland later this year. We're getting ready to release a schedule later in this year with some golf meetups throughout the country. We're also creating what we call the Greens and Grain Society, and that's going to be released next week. So if you're a club, a whiskey bar, a lounge, or just four buddies that like to hang around and drink whiskey, play golf, we're going to create it where you can create your own little society. We provide all information for you to have quarterly meetings. But really, what we want to do is create little groups all over the country. And then that way I can say, hey, let's go here, bring your group. We'll bring our group, and seven other groups are coming, and we're going to go fill up this golf course, and we're going to go play some great golf. And there might be a distillery close by, so we might enjoy a good spirit. And we did research, and there is a cigar lounge like right there next to the hotel or something like that. So a lot of the stuff that we're creating is we want to empower each individual to kind of control their area, but come together as a big group throughout the year.
Definitely, yeah, and it's all about the 19th hole, which you guys and we have a very common love for as well too. And I
Yes.
appreciate that you even have a kind of chatter section on the site that's called the
Yes.
19th hole because that's where all the real banter and camaraderie happens in golf anyway.
Well, it's golf, right? It's people poking at you, you know. Yeah. So you go in the 19th hole. It's a lot of poking. So somebody will release, "Hey, I just had this whiskey. Here's what I think about it." And half the comments are polite, and the other half they're a little poke. It's nothing mean. It's nothing inappropriate, but there might be a little poking. And again, you get a large group together, and they feel comfortable around each other. It's like the golf course, right? But no, I think that common meeting ground, the 19th hole after a round where you're sitting around with buddies spinning the tale of what just happened, explaining why you didn't, win or whatever that piece is, I think is the essence of golf. And so we brought the 19th hole in as our chatting forum where people can interact. And then again, the beauty of the 19th hole is you can interact with anybody in the system. So you can contact any member. And we've actually had a couple members that will actually go and play member guests with you. So if you need a ringer and you want to win, we have a couple guys that will be more
Okay.
than happy to travel to your venue and give you a real upper hand if need be.
Nice, love that. Again, it's Brian Bailey with Golf Cask joining us here on the Course of Life. Check out golfcast.com as well too. And you're based in Virginia. I haven't really spent too much time playing golf there. Take everyone to your kind of hometown and where you play golf and what the golf scene's like there.
Yeah, we're lucky. We're right in the central Virginia, so we're right in the mountains. So we're basically Charlottesville is right in the valley, so we have four beautiful golf courses that are absolutely spectacular. One is where I teach. I'm a member at a second one. Rolling hills, bent greens, bent fairways. We're in the Mid Atlantic. We're under snow right now. We had the
Yeah.
snow apocalypse come through 2 weeks ago, and we're finally getting in the 50s again. So golf will hopefully show back up here in another week. But I'm very blessed, and we have the Birdwood Golf Course, which is part of the Boar's Head Resort. We have Spring Creek, my home course, which is Green Hills, all spectacular venues. We have a Georgia course in town. So we're very fortunate. I'm very fortunate on local golf, and the state of Virginia has really good golf as well. So it's not a bad place to hang out if you want to come visit.
Okay, very cool. Good to know. Added to the travel list for future endeavors,
That's
indeed.
right.
Let's get to a few quick shot questions before we wrap up here with Brian. Let's talk about the logistics of whiskey and cigar as it pertains to golf and a day of golf. I'm
Hmm.
curious if you have a moment for like one whiskey drink and one cigar. Tell me when in the day, ideally, would you like those to happen? When would you most ideally like to have the whiskey, and when would you like the cigar?
So when we're out with a group, we usually do if we're in a fun outing, we're probably going to do one cigar per nine. So we'll probably light something up, probably third hole, and it'll be over about nine.
Yeah.
And then we'll light up something again and probably around 12, 13, and that'll take us to the end of the day. As for whiskey drinking, it depends on the group. We might have a sip for the day, or we might have a tasting every few holes. It really depends on the group. Ideally, I play golf fairly serious. So if it's a serious moment, whiskey doesn't show up until the final end of the day. But if it's just a fun outing, we're creative on where whiskey shows, and it depends on the alcohol laws of the state and the
Yes.
golf course and the regulations on that. But there are flasks. But anyways, no, I think it really depends on the group and what they're looking for. When we do our big event here in Charlottesville, we actually have a couple vendors that come out and they'll sit on certain holes and there'll be whiskey
Nice.
tasting throughout the day. But more than anything, I think it really depends on the group. Uh, I'm out there to play golf, so whiskey's always light for me during the round, but after a round, that might change.
Okay, noted. And as far as the landscape in golf, we talk with lots of different pros, across different tour circuits. I'm curious, in a dream world where you could have a professional golfer be an endorser for Golf Cask as a brand, who are you picking if you got one pick right now for someone to
I think
endorse
there's
you
only
guys?
one dude. He wears some ugly pants, doesn't wear shoes, hits it a long way. I think John Daly would be. I mean, if he doesn't personify golf and whiskey, well, I know he has his vodka drinks. I don't know if he might not be a whiskey guy. He
There
might
could
be
be
more
some
of a
room for branding there. He
yeah.
doesn't have
There
any
could be some
whiskey that
clear
so
whiskey, but or some clear spirits. But I think him. If I could pick any pro in history that I could work with, I was growing up. I would say Freddie Couples is my favorite. So I would enjoy maybe having a pour with Freddie and just hear his stories.
love that. Awesome. Let's get to the 19th hole now. It's kind of a two-parter for you. I guess when you get to your favorite clubhouse, part
Hmm.
one is what's your favorite meal to have in the 19th hole? And then give me your kind of craft, your ideal 19th hole whiskey drink or cocktail to go with it as well.
All right, so I'm looking at me. I'm a physical specimen, so
Yep.
I'm a steak and potatoes kind of guy. So anything in the steak realm, I'm in. Uh, Favorite cut, probably ribeye. Um, a nice mashed potato, maybe some asparagus. Spot on.
Like that.
Whiskey pairing with, I enjoy bourbons, I enjoy scotches, I enjoy Irishes, but I really enjoy rye whiskey. So a good rye whiskey is going to give you some of that herbal mintiness. That'll go well with the steak, but it's going to give you a lot of that spice, a little peppery, kind of punchy side of it as well. So I'd probably have a fine rye whiskey with a steak, and I'd be very content and probably ready for a nap an hour or so later.
Nice. Love that. Great all American pairing indeed
That's
from
right.
Brian Bailey with Golf Cast. Appreciate you joining the show. You're part of our 19th hole culture, so you're an honorary member with us, and we'll see you
I
next time.
love it. I love it. And I thank you for your time. And if anyone's interested, please join us here at Golf Cask. It's free, golfcast.com. We welcome you.